saw Sean Burgoyne the other day.
Yeah. Where?
At Doncaster Shopping Centre.
Really? Have the kids with him?
He was with the kids.
Yeah. Good dad.
And
he looks like a good
we
dad.
actually were walking past each other, like, on opposite sides of the shop. And I was looking at him because I was like, oh, that's Sean Burgoyne. But, like, noticed that my head was turning as I kept walking, so it was a little borderline creepy. But then he started doing the same thing to me, as in, like, what are you looking at? No, what the fuck are you looking at, mate? I was quite surprised he did that. Because it's like, well, you know why I'm looking at you. I don't want to fight you. That's what he was looking at me like. But he was looking at me like, what?
Yeah, what of it?
And I'm just looking at him like, no, I'm just like, oh, look, that's
I just
Sean.
want to look at you.
Yeah.
It's Sean.
It's Sean.
Welcome, Magoo's viewers. We're finally here. We've had the bye weekend and we are ready to get stuck in to all the finals action.
I am excited, Jake.
You look excited.
And mainly because I took your advice from last week. You know how you were saying that there was no point really watching the news during the bye stuff because there's not much that gets said. And
Did I say that?
yeah, I think so, didn't you?
Doesn't sound like me. But anyway.
I think I might have said it. Anyway, I took my own advice and I'm a clean sheet.
You got no notes.
I don't know what's happened during the week because there's no footy. That's all I care about.
And I feel like you've turned up with no notes, but you're as prepared as you've ever been.
Yeah, probably. I might even be better tonight because I've got no notes.
Just be crisp.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you've dabbled in some improv in the past, a bit of comedy sort of stuff. So.
Yeah, do a little bit of stand-up comedy sometimes.
So maybe some non-pre-rehearsed stuff, something entertaining might just come.
Bit of ad-lib, you think?
No promises though, Magoo's
We'll
viewers. We do have a
Yeah.
huge show for week one of the finals. Joining us later on in the program, former Hawk, Alex Woodward, now
winner of your
Collingwood.
segment, I believe. Did he win your segment? Never?
Might have been a Magoo's moment.
Was he?
Could have been.
She's lucky. Well, lucky I'm asking you.
Yeah, not him. I might have to ask him that later. Actually, I don't think I will ask him that. No, it's a bit awkward. He probably knows. He would have got the certificate in the mail.
It's a nice award.
It's a huge award. This week's is...
You've got one for us this week.
The best of the this could be this week's Magoo's moment could be the best one ever.
Wow.
Will probably be captain in the Magoo's moment of the week, team of the year.
Oh, you having a team of the year as well? No. I thought that was just
horrific idea.
Yeah.
Great buy-in. Anyway, we will get through all the footy news. We'll preview the finals. We'll turn it all upside down. Have a look. We'll pick some winners. Do a finals bracket each, and we'll tell you where the flag's going. We'll get stuck into it, and we may as well start. Last week, we recorded the show prior to the All-Australian, and we probably should have done it afterwards because there were so many talking points straight out of that, and we don't want to really be the last ones backing over it, but we will.
Well, I wanted to do it afterwards, but you did tell me that you had something with your girlfriend that night that you had to do it at a certain point.
That's going to be news to her because we don't spend a lot of time together. Now she knows about my other girlfriend. So thanks for that. Great laughs. Lance Franklin, captain of the All-Australian side. Yes, no.
Why not?
Do you want one of the many reasons why not?
Well, I've heard a few of the reasons, and to be honest, I don't mind.
It's a joke.
Well, Alex Rance was a joke last year then.
Yeah, I agree. But at least there was no other
at least
captains
they're
in the side. Yeah, they're a consistent laughing stock.
Are you surprised? The AFL have been... they've shocked me quite a few times this year to where I'm not shocked anymore about whatever they do, including Lance Franklin as captain.
Lance Franklin as captain's the greatest.
The greatest what?
AFL thing to do. I don't know. It just reeks of... We know we're making a bad call here, but watch us do it anyway.
I feel like that. I feel like they do that a lot.
And there's nothing you humble folk can do about it.
Yeah. For example, putting the Richmond Hawthorn game on a Thursday night, which as a viewer I'm looking forward to watching on my TV set, but I wouldn't watch
on my TV set.
I have a television set, but I'm not surprised. Are you really surprised?
No. Well, there was a good reason for that. There was a good reason for why they put it on the Thursday. It's because of the recovery time. If Collingwood were to lose, they would have to fly back on a 6-day break from Perth to play.
Right. And that's why?
That's exactly why, yeah. That's exactly why that game, that's why West Coast Collingwood couldn't be There was something in there.
Wait, no, that would give them
there's
longer recovery if they played Thursday night.
No. There's something in it. I remember reading it. I
What?
should have read it a bit better. So their Saturday. There was a reason why that game couldn't be the Thursday, because if Collingwood lost, they would play. There was something in that travel time. There was definitely something, because
There was something.
yes, there was something.
Yeah.
There was a good reason.
Well, I think Collingwood are going to win that game anyway.
No, they won't.
Yeah, they will.
Won't.
Will.
Won't. Okay. What goes hand in hand with finals in teams playing finals is teams that aren't playing
You're going to
finals.
ask me. I was like, what does go hand in hand?
We've had some free agency announcements, for the want of a better term. So obviously Tom Lynch is on the move, but Richmond's locked for him.
Obviously. Is it obvious?
Yeah, it's obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Luke Dahlhaus has left the Dogs
Yeah.
and is Geelong bound.
Yeah.
Huge pickup for the Cats, I reckon.
Massive.
Bargain,
Yeah.
$500,000.
He would just
Gives him
complement
a
the
little
players
bit
they've
more
already got.
outside sort of,
Yeah.
really good pressure, forward pressure. Like, he hasn't had a good couple of years, which is fair, but
Like, definitely capable.
I think that he's the sort of bloke that you get him into a new system, he sort of gets that
He's closer to
shot in
home.
the leg sort of, yeah,
Go
well,
surfing during the week.
all that sort of stuff. Home is where the heart is, but
That is true.
yeah, I think it's going to be a massive get for the Cats. I think it's a huge tip. I mean, he hasn't announced Geelong yet, but all signs point to yes. So
like he will.
I reckon that it's massive for him.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think he'll just complement that midfield that they've already got. Like, that's just going to give that relaxation a little bit more for your Selwoods and that. So good call.
And also doing the rumour mill this week. Chad Wingard not on the move, but his management have come out and said they have put $1 million price tag on his head.
Who wants it?
I'm surprised if anyone would want to pay 3/4 of that.
3/4 of that.
Yeah, I
250K.
No, 3/4 of $1 million.
Oh, I thought you meant like 3/4 off.
That's
So
not what I said,
3/4 of
though.
$1 million.
Yeah, I wouldn't pay that for Chad Wingard.
Oh, wow.
Wouldn't pay him $750.
That's spicy. See,
Wouldn't pay him $650.
yeah. Again, it's like based off
Do you know
what he's doing.
He's an
or-
unknown quantity. You don't know what you're getting.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
maybe he could be another, but he seems.
So are they saying that if Port don't offer him that he's on the move?
Well, I mean, he's still contracted,
okay.
but
What's
there's
going on
been
with
this rumour.
what does a contract
contracts,
even mean?
yeah.
Like,
Contracts means that you get something for your player before he leaves. But
yeah.
and then we've had, on the back of that, this is just a bit more speculation. And then so the word is that Lachie Neale's on the move, 1 year out of or before free agency. So I think that's the honourable thing to do now: is sign for one more year than you want to stay, and then get traded 1 year out. So you're not
at least
leaving.
you've got some sort of compensation for your club.
So you get like proper compensation. So
Yeah.
you probably you're more likely to get overcompensated. So then it's fair, because if you just leave in free agency, they get one pick.
Yeah. Now the buzz is around Brisbane. Is that right?
Yeah, apparently it's
I for one am excited if that happens for Brisbane. I think that's a huge get.
padlocked away.
Padlocked.
Lock it away, Brisbane.
Everything's a lock.
Locked.
It's locked.
Yeah.
Geez, that midfield's going to be dangerous.
Oh yeah, that's some top end talent.
Yeah.
Top end talent.
With a lot of young talent around it too. Brizzy, look out.
Yeah.
Where's Vargas?
Look out.
Look out.
Well said.
Are there any others you got on there? I didn't know about the Chad Wingard one.
Not going to get. Oh, I think Chad Wingard will stay. But yeah, I think it was Brad Ebert said that he wouldn't begrudge him for leaving, and if he gets a big offer. Pollock's an interesting one though, because
Has that changed since last week?
they now reckon it's St Kilda have upped North Melbourne's offer. They reckon they're going to pay him $800,000.
Is he worth 800?
He's probably not, but he's a good player. I
Potentially
think
could
he's a
be.
better player than people give
How
him
old
credit
is he?
for. He'd be Sam Doherty's-ish ilk, so he'd be 24, 25.
Okay.
Because he was Brisbane and
Yeah.
then left as part of the departing group when Voss was there and things
Yeah,
went
right.
well.
Yeah. Interesting. I love it when St Kilda and North both fight over something, because like at the end of the day, no one cares.
Yeah.
No offense. Well,
Yeah.
actually, take offense. I don't care.
Yeah, I think they will take offence.
Yeah, good.
Great.
Hope you get half of him each.
Whoever gets the left side is doing
It's like
a lot
I
better.
hope it's like a divorce. Like every second week, maybe he goes to play for St Kilda,
Yeah.
and North every other. That would be nice.
I've got something, and I don't know what you're doing for your...
Is it a phone?
No. I don't know what you're doing for your cane corns of the week, but...
I'm not doing one.
You're not doing a cane corn?
No, because the team's set. We've got this team on our socials, but we don't have positions for the team.
Okay, so you're happy with your squad, and you're just gonna go with what you've done during the home and away season. There's going to be no finals, cane corns. I thought that'd be when the big players come to the fore.
Yeah, it's not bad. Didn't think of that. But as I had previously stated, there was no footy on the weekend.
It's true, but that doesn't mean that there wasn't punditry.
Yeah, but it would have been a cesspool. It would have been shoot fish in a barrel, because there would have been 100 articles that wouldn't have been written if there was footy on.
So Mark Stevens, I
gave it to him last week. If you remember.
Yeah, I do. But I'm just scrolling because I saw another tweet of his, but I've just scrolled through his tweets.
I think it's a long year. It's been a long year for Mark. He can't wait for a holiday.
Like, he loves the Bulldogs, doesn't he? Like, he's a huge Bulldogs man.
Is he saying there's a silver lining in all this?
Oh, mate, he's just he breaks news that everyone knows and thinks, like he's got insiders at the kennel. But so this was his tweet, right? And this is everything that's wrong with the way some people have an insight. This is not Bulldogs related, but Razor Ray Chamberlain is good for footy. Front and square on big stage again this week. Believe he has Friday night at the G. 2 debutantes looming as well in week 1 of the finals.
What a point! What a waste of time. You've wasted my time reading that to me.
If Razor Ray Chamberlain, if him being on the big stage, that's not... Umpires should not be noticed. They should not have like this, this awe around them of what game are they going to get, this, that, the other. Like, you shouldn't be noticed. You should be there to officiate, not try and take over. An umpire should never be front and square. Did you drop your pen?
Yeah, that's all right. I don't need it. He also said he's good for the game, and then didn't follow up with why.
Because he's not.
Because he's docile. Docile.
He's also tweeting...
I can't wait for Razor Ray to retire, and then Mark Stevens just have a tweet about him playing golf with him back in 2012 in Florida with the Crocs. And
Small.
Small.
Obnoxious.
Razor. Sharp.
Officiating.
Ray.
In charge. Ray. He's also reporting that Bulldog Marcus Adams has been homesick in the past. Hearing now he's weighing up an exit with 2 years left on a deal. WA club's logical frontrunners if he goes in trade.
Logical.
But
if he's homesick and he's from Perth, is that assumed? That's logical?
Mm. Snouts say the Dogs are keen on luring Sam Lloyd to the kennel.
Sam Lloyd?
It's just all Dogs related, isn't he?
I don't mind if they can get Sam. I don't mind Sam Lloyd. I reckon he's not, not a bad player.
Yeah, he's not a bad player.
Yeah.
But is he just making this up so the
Dogs... it's not like... all
of
those aren't really big news, are they? Yeah. There's sort of...
But it's like, if I say a player that I want the Dogs to get is going to the Dogs, maybe I'll just start something.
Do you actually reckon he's...
Believe the Dogs are into Dangerfield. Hates living down on the beach. More to come.
Prefers Footscray over surfing.
Over sunny Mogs.
Oh, Mogsy. Love it down there. Have you been down to Mogs Creek?
Not far from. Yeah.
What, your lawn sort of setup?
We're pretty close down to Mogs. Actually got told we weren't going, unfortunately. I wanted to go. I want to go and have a look at Mogs Creek. We're about 15 minutes away, and Mr. said,
15 minutes? What? So you were at Aries maybe before
that? That's where we were. We were at Aries. We did the twist.
The light tower.
I'd say
light post. What's it called?
the lighthouse, I'd tell you.
Lighthouse.
And you can have this for free, Goose viewers. Do not ever do the tour of the Aries Inlet round the twist lighthouse.
Save your time.
Just watch
Go
the
to
show.
the Aries pub instead. That's a beauty.
It was nice to see it and go, but they didn't film the show in there.
No, and Bronson wasn't there when you went, I'm guessing.
Definitely wasn't. There was 1,000 kids on this tour, and you're winding up this tiny staircase. These kids are screaming. You go up there. I'm petrified of heights out on this little deck.
People are doing a fun run next to it.
It makes
That's what happened when I was there.
It's just the worst experience. And then after all that, I say you might keep driving to Moggs Creek, have a little bit of a look around.
It's honestly not even 15 minutes past.
It was 12. I was 12. I
looked it up.
I remember I looked it up. And
couldn't even go to Mogsy.
And
not much in Moggs,
because then it's it's actually You know, it might be 15 away, but it's actually half an hour because we go there and then all the way over. Because we're going to Ocean Grove. So we're going the other way.
You two think alike. You're so like...
No, that's what she said to
Yeah,
me.
yeah, and you would say something on that if I was to suggest that.
Well, are you saying you and me should go to Monk?
No, but you'd be like, 15 each way. That's half an hour all up. Beautiful down the coast,
God,
though.
Easter,
I bet you didn't
Easter time,
Did you not even like, it's cold?
Well, actually, it wasn't Easter. It was a long weekend. It was even colder. It was June.
Yeah, it was June.
June. Freezing in June.
So, Mark Stevens, idiot. What do you...
Oh, and also Caroline Wilson whacked Dane Beams on Footy Classified on Monday night. She said that Dane Beams has been telling Melbourne suitors one thing and then Brisbane another. And then apparently that it's Brisbane who've stood firm. He hasn't decided to stay. Brisbane said you won't be traded under any circumstance. And so then he came out and did his whole like, I love you blokes, whatever. And she had a real crack at him. And I don't know, it's just dangerous territory. Like Dane Beams has been really open and honest with his struggles and all that sort of. I mean, that doesn't mean you can do whatever you want, but you know, would anyone begrudge him if he wanted to move back to Melbourne? Like, I honestly don't think they would.
No, I don't think so.
And I think that separating footy and life is a smart thing to do sometimes. And I think that some people can do it and other people obviously can't. Yeah. And the way that Caroline Wilson framed all of that was pretty poor for mine.
So my question is, what does Caro gain from this?
She got a Caro's arrow from it. She did
bit of a cake of the week sort of setup, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's what
I should be emailing her and say, hey, I know you were there 4 years before me, but I don't like it.
Yeah, I know I ripped off your segment.
Ben's arrow doesn't have the same ring.
We'll have to get into a couple of quick things to tick off just before Alex Woodward comes on the show.
He's in the green room at the moment.
He is in the green room. Told. See, if we had a high budget, we'd then flash to another camera of Alex Woodward in the green room, you know, like shadow boxing or something.
Oh, you know, just being funny. Housemate's head real quick and pretend he is Alex.
Yeah, but we don't have another camera is what I meant.
Go on.
You're never on the same path, are we? Magoo's moment, I've got one, and I reckon it's the best Magoo's moment we're likely to see in our lifetime.
You have mentioned that previously.
In our meeting.
On the show earlier, 10 minutes ago.
Sounds like me.
Maybe it is Alex. Go on. I want to hear Magoo's moment.
Magoo's moment of the year, I'm calling it. We've had some crackers, and I think I said that earlier.
Of the year. Come on in, whoever that was. Just a... Oh, it's my
hang
wonderful girl,
hang on
Molly. How are ya? I'll be out there in a minute.
Great.
What were we talking about again?
Magoo's moment of the year.
Excellent. Of the year.
The best one. I reckon this is the best one of our lifetime.
What if something tops it during the week?
Bet it doesn't.
Okay.
John Millman.
Oh, yeah, no, that's
best. Best ever. Beat Federer.
Unbelievable.
The greatest player of all time's gone down to the 55th ranked Australian, John Millman.
It wasn't just the win, though, was it? It was the way he went about it.
And that's like, it's old school Australian stuff, isn't it? That's what we used to be known as, you know, in tennis. You know, it was Leighton Hewitt-esque. It was, you know, these people who, they just try. And Australian tennis has sort of moved away from that grit and determination and sort of working dog attitude due to the likes of Kyrgios and Tomic, who've got all the talent but no ticker. This, for Millman, was top shelf, as Magoo's as it gets. This, like, and then the reaction to it all was just great.
He's just won over a whole country.
So you read, and he's won a lot of money too.
Yeah.
By advancing to that next round. I mean, he would have got a lot of money for the round he was at anyway, and then plays Novak in the next round. So look out. So he beats Federer.
Well, I'll tell you what, this could be next week.
Loses the first set, 6-3. Yeah, he could be the US Open champion this time next week.
Yeah, and I think that tops this.
Loses the first set, 6-3, then goes 7-5, 7-6, 7-6. See you, Rog.
See you, Rog.
Thanks for playing, but you've just been Millmanised.
The Millman.
The Millman.
Now, a friend of ours and a friend of the show, actually, Matt Hillman.
Oh, yeah.
Before
I guarantee you Matt Hillman will watch this episode.
Well, I hope so.
I got a hot tip.
I
got a hot tip that there'll be an element of this episode that means he'll watch it compared to other episodes he may not watch.
Because I'm mentioning his name?
No, he wouldn't know that.
I thought you might drop that.
Because it's not just you and I on the show.
Because it's Alex as well.
Because we've got a guest, so he will watch this episode versus the episodes that perhaps we don't have a
See,
guest.
like, I thought that's what you meant, but you were very, like, it could mean something else. I'm like, is it because my girlfriend walked in? But you
haven't stopped smiling since that happened, mind you.
Yeah. He took to Twitter a few days before it. I think he might have had a couple to drink, and he said new name for himself, because his name's Matt Hillman, changed it to Thrillman. Do you reckon he's regretting that a few days later? Could have changed it to Millman.
Could have been Matty Millman.
Could have been Matty Millman.
Yeah, I guess so. But so Johnny Millman, right? so many articles and stuff coming out. I knew him before he beat Federer, all this sort of stuff. I was just reading this really good one today, and so, you know, he's playing in $10,000 tournaments in, you know, all around the world, like the lowest of the lows, all this sort of stuff. He was outside the top 1,000 at one stage, like shoulder recos and all this sort of stuff. And then it's just the stuff dreams are made of, isn't it? Like, you know, you rock into the US Open and then you take down the best player of all time. It's just, it's as good old-fashioned Aussie Magoo's moment as it gets.
That's fantastic.
Awesome, isn't it?
Johnny Millman.
Johnny Millman.
That's great. Well done.
All right, well, I reckon we go out, we grab Alex, and we get stuck into this finals week 1 interview with former Hawk and current Collingwood VFL player and AFL runner, Alex Woodward. Welcome back, Magoo's viewers. We've got an absolute treat here with Alex Woodward joining the podcast today. Alex, thanks for your time.
No worries, mate. Thanks for having me.
So we'll sort of go through your entire footballing journey today. I guess we'll start where we started with a few of our other guests and just ask where footy all started for you, and what's your earliest memories? How did you fall in love with the game of AFL?
Yeah, so I was taught the game of footy through my old man. My old man is a working class man, so he drives taxis for a living, and he still does right to this date. So he used to take me to the taxi depot before work and after work during the day shift, and I'd just have a footy in the taxi with him, and then have a kick after.
So you always had the footy in hand?
Always had a footy. Always had a hat on as well. So I grew up in Noble Park, and that's where all my childhood was in terms of junior footy. And I remember my first game, I actually wore a hat because I was just so obsessed with wearing hats. Even as
you
a
were
kid,
allowed to wear it?
Yeah, I was the only kid with a hat, so I was quick to find out that they bloody fly off when you're playing footy. But throughout my whole juniors, I played at Noble Park, and funnily enough, Adam Trelaw and I were pretty close mates there, and we find ourselves sort of at Collingwood now.
Yeah.
Myself on the VFL list, and obviously him being one of the stars of the competition. From there, I spent a year at Dingley, just so I could get a bit more recognition through the Sandringham Dragons program in the TAC. Unfortunately, with the area codes, with how they sort of sector you off into your TAC teams, a lot of my teammates from Noble Park went to Dandenong, and I was one of the few that actually had to be delegated to the Sandringham Dragons, which was a brand new start for me, but it meant that not a lot of people knew who I was, and I just wanted just a little bit more exposure. Hopefully, put my name in light, so to speak, so they could pick me for their under-16 squad and 18 squad, so on and so forth. From there, I was lucky enough to obviously have that 2 years at Sandy and play all the games and play a bit of state footy as well. But my passion for footy definitely started with Dad, and will probably end with Dad as well. So he's still a massive part of my footy journey.
Seems to be a common theme with just playing footy with the old man when you're real
most
young.
people, isn't it? Yeah. So talk us through then, you obviously work your way through that under-18 system, and then you get drafted, pick 53 in the 2011 draft, and then what's that feeling like? It must just feel like you got the world at your feet.
Yeah, it was an interesting night actually. So I obviously went to draft camp and stuff, and I didn't think I did too well, to be honest, and I met with a fair few clubs, but it just didn't give me any real certainty of where I was going to go or if I was going to go at all. And draft night was a bit like that. I had a feeling that possibly I'd go here or go there. But by pick 50, I sort of locked myself in my bedroom. I thought not was over for me.
Only for 3 more picks at least.
And Dad's bloody 6-pack down on the couch. he just can't believe what's going on. And
Didn't
then
have to work after, I hope.
I know, yeah, I think it was a Saturday night or something, so night off, which is great for Dad. And 3 picks later, I just hear this yelling from the lounge room. That's my old man. He's a bit tipsy, but he can still read the name on the screen. And it was my name being called out 53 at Hawthorn, and it was amazing because the Waverley Park, and I was living in Noble Park. But Waverley Park was just up the road, so like 3 k's up the road. So I went to school at Mazenod, lived in Noble Park, and then got drafted to Waverley Park. So all within the vicinity of 5k really, which was amazing. But yeah, that night was surreal. Get all these text messages and phone calls, and even from your teammates that are going to be patting you on the back in a couple of days' time. But I was getting text messages from Lance Franklin and getting calls from Alistair Clarkson and stuff. I was only 18. It was pretty crazy, but definitely a night I'll never forget.
Yeah, you go from thinking the dream's over in your bedroom after 50 picks to getting a message from Buddy.
What you doing this Saturday night?
I actually remember. So I went to one of my mates' place after, and I was still getting these messages, and one of my mates, I actually didn't have his phone number in my phone, and he pretended to message me, pretended to be one of the players. Gee, it was a huge stitch up because I thought it was Cyril. And I was like, oh my god, Cyril's bloody texting me. And he ended up just being my mate who was sitting like across the room from me. He got me good.
That's brilliant.
Very good. Obviously, we're called the Magoos here, and you're Magoo's royalty as a JJ Liston trophy winner. That's the best of the best Magoos. I mean, it's probably too good for us, really. I mean, you might be able to tell by the set, but to be the best player in the VFL in a really successful time at Hawthorn, must have been, I guess, both frustrating and pleasing in the sense that you were still playing such good footy, but you couldn't break into that side at that point in time. Yeah,
it was. I suppose for me, it was a really good reward for effort. So I missed my first 2 seasons at the Hawks with back-to-back knee recos. So 18-year-old and 19-year-old, 2012, 2013, wipe off and. Didn't play any footy at all. It was pretty much like I never left pre-season, to be honest. Just kept running laps, kept working hard, and by the time 2014 came around, I just became so much like a student of the game for a couple of years, which was still huge for my development as a player. Even though I wasn't necessarily playing the game, I still felt like I improved as a player. You have the likes of Sam Mitchell, Brad Sewell, Jordan Lewis, Luke Hodge, these resources at your hand, wealth of knowledge, you'd be silly not to tap into it.
Yeah, what was that like?
It was awesome.
Yeah.
I'm very much a person that likes to ask questions and wants to get the best out of yourself and that sort of stuff. So, like I said, even though I was injured, didn't stop me from asking questions and still wanting to, I suppose, get something out of it. Even though from day dot, really, when I walked into the club, I was an injured player, but I was really happy with 2014 being a season that I can reflect on in more ways than one. Again, JJ Liston medal was a massive reward for effort and something that I'll always be proud of. But for me, with that season, making my debut was probably the main highlight from that.
Yeah. How close were you to that final side in 2014?
It was a bit of a dynasty, so to break into the side, it was a really surreal feeling because I felt like it was almost like I gave him no choice but to pick me, which is huge because it wasn't necessarily an injury that I just came in to replace for. It was just the fact that I was playing some good footy in the twos, and it was week after week that I was trying to put my hand up. But I was actually part of the training squad, which is about 25 to 28 players throughout the final series. So just to be part of that and train in front of big crowds during the final series, I was pretty happy with that.
At the time when that happened, did you take pride in knowing that Sam Mitchell had won that JJ Liston medal as well back in 2002?
Yeah.
That it wasn't the end of the world, that you could definitely.
Yeah, it was interesting because, to be honest, mate, that night I didn't think I'd have any chance. So I didn't know too much about the history of the JJ or the past winners or anything like that, and it came up as a big surprise to me. But the Hawthorn Footy Club actually that year had 3 other list and medalist winners on the list. So we had Ben Ross, who came across from North. He came across as a delisted free agent, I think. Mitch Hallahan and obviously Sam Mitchell. So it was good to, I suppose, have that bond with those players as well.
Sort of says a lot about Hawthorn in general, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They just know how to, breed them.
And like you were saying before, mate, with was it disappointing that I didn't necessarily break into the side for a substantial amount of time? Yes and no. Obviously, I'd rather play AFL footy, but it speaks volumes to the depth and the list that Hawthorn had. So my time at Box Hill was sensational. I was really happy with it, and the boys down there were huge as well.
How'd Box Hill go that year?
I think the year before they won it, and 2014, unfortunately, we lost in the grand final to Footscray. They ran over the top of us. Yeah, we were a few down on the bench, unfortunately.
So you're obviously at Hawthorn during that three-peat era. What's that like? I mean, just to be on the list, like during that time, obviously the premiership celebrations, like Hawthorn become one of the most successful eras of all time, and you're on the list during that period. What was that like? I mean, just during September's must have just been incredible.
Yeah, it was absolutely unbelievable, mate. Like, especially with the winning feeling being so consistent over the that dynasty period. It was almost like here we are again, like 2012, 13. Like here we are again. Oh, this another year, another grand final, and it's not like that. That's not real life in a sense with AFL. We probably didn't understand at the time that being able to get to back to back grand finals is not something that happens too often. So for me to be a part of that, and even though I wasn't necessarily playing, but to be a part of the celebrations and be amongst the atmosphere, it was almost like a bit of a dream, really. So I had to pinch myself a couple of times, but I was just so happy for the boys, and they worked really hard to obviously get themselves in that position and build that era. It was amazing, to say the least.
Nice.
You touched on the knee injuries that you've had and all the rehabs and all those sort of things you've done. Can you just sort of, I guess, lift the lid on how tough that can be? I mean, once, obviously, it can be bad enough, but as you said, you yourself have done 4, and then you see a guy like Alex Johnson who goes in for his 6th. Like, how hard is that rehab process, and then having to do it multiple times? Yeah,
so I suppose it is very hard, mate. Like, rehab's a lonely place sometimes, and I don't think there's enough of an understanding that some people, I think, take being a footballer for granted. Not in the fact that it is a great lifestyle. It's obviously, I think it's the best job in the world. I always wanted to be a footballer, so I was extremely happy to be a footballer. But when you get that taken away from you, it's something that's hard to swallow, hard to accept. But to try and build yourself back up to a position where you can play footy once again, and then to get knocked in repeatedly, it's tough to get a grasp on. But I think some people take a little bit for granted because footballers work bloody hard, mate, and they're not even the ones that get injured. The ones that actually stay fit work extremely hard. So you can only imagine the ones that aren't getting game, that are injured, that are trying to get themselves back up into a position where they can play footy again. Maybe a little bit more of a spotlight and recognition should be shown towards them. But I think I wouldn't be the person that I am today if I didn't go through all those experiences in rehab. So yes, it was tough, but it was very much character building as well.
It says heaps about your mental capacity to go through it 4 times. I mean,
it was, each one was a little bit different. I felt like I felt like when I was 18, I didn't know what it was, so it was all new to me. I remember when I did it, I didn't even know till the Monday that after scans and stuff that everything.
You had the ankle at the same.
Yeah, so I actually came off with the ankle. I tore ligaments in my ankle, and that was probably what was giving me grief. And then I told them to check my knee because it just felt a little bit funny. And then they did that Lockman's test, and unfortunately, it just was given way a bit too easily. So got the scans on Monday, all confirmed, and 10 months later, I'll rupture it again during a practice match, and I knew straight away what it was.
Yeah.
Obviously, having been through it before, But the second time I was like optimistic. I was like, I know what I did wrong. I did a stupid manoeuvre I'll never do again. I'll smash out this rehab. I've done it before. I'm right to go. So I was in a pretty good mental state, to be honest, mate, just to smash out another 12 months. Being 19 as well, you're full of energy and you just want to go again. Obviously played footy 2014, half a season 2015, and then I bloody broke down again in halfway through 2015. That was pretty hard to accept because I felt like I was right on the cusp of actually getting another game. And
Yeah, I was just going to ask that.
Yeah.
Halfway through there, did you feel like you were getting momentum?
I felt like I was improving as a player, even though I wasn't getting an AFL game. They wanted to see more of me from a different position, so I was playing a lot more forward and I was having an impact on the game that way.
Yeah.
So just to break down in that way, so close to getting a game, I was emergency a few times, travelling emergency, all that. And then to go down again, I knew straight away it was a knee again. So then I came back a year later, so played the second half of 16. Played some good footy, but I think the trust in my body was gone from the coach's perspective, and I completely understood that. End of the day, mate, footy's a business. So
Yeah,
when they look at it, they go, well, you've given us a year and a half of footy out of 5 years on the list. Not much of a return, really, even though it was good for culture. I was good to be amongst the boys, and had amazing relationships with everyone. From that point of view, I completely understood. And Hawthorn were going in a little bit of a different direction. Obviously, Sam Mitchell went to West Coast and Jordan Lewis went to Melbourne, so there were a few changes going on with the list.
Potentially Ruffy this year as well.
Oh.
Was he someone?
Yeah.
I hope not.
So
He's a great man. Right?
yeah.
But the fourth one was definitely the hardest one because I'm out of the system. Working 9 to 5 job. Don't have the resources at hand, so the rehab and the onus is on me to...
So that one hit pretty hard, obviously.
Yeah. I just found it difficult because I had to be diligent more than ever to do my rehab, I don't know, 7 o'clock at night or something like that. So it wasn't no longer my job, but in that sort of sense, peace of mind as well. So it was almost like a release from work to go away, do my rehab, get myself right again, rather than being at a daily grind, like it was for the first 5 years of my career.
Yeah, for sure. So just before we try and lighten the mood just a
No,
little bit,
sorry.
we do have a couple more serious footy questions to tick off on the way through. So you're back playing VFL. Now you've moved on to Collingwood's VFL list and you're doing the running for the AFL side as well.
Yep.
So being back in that sort of system, how's Collingwood set up and structure and culture differ from that Hawthorn setup that you were in during that successful time?
No, that's a good question. I feel like all clubs obviously got their own culture and their own system and how they want to play footy and how they want to be perceived, so to speak. And we touched on a little bit before with Hawthorn being so successful. I think Collingwood's trying to build their way up there. This season's been outstanding with how Bucks and the coaches have really built this team back up to a top 4 team. So I think every team sort of strives to be like a Hawthorn era team, so to speak. Easier said than done, but no, I definitely think Collingwood's on the right path. Hawthorn, right from day dot when I got there, were we are a premiership side, and this is who we are. And I think their actions spoke louder than words. And obviously, I think 4 out of 5 years they were right up there. So,
do you reckon either of those teams can do it this year?
I reckon it's hard, and you don't want to make excuses for any teams, but you can only imagine if Collingwood were full strength lineup.
Yeah.
But in saying that, the resilience of the squad this year.
Yeah, geez, they did well for the amount of.
And I know that I'm there, but I honestly think that they're a really good chance this week, and then you never know what could happen. Really, I think Hawthorn's a good chance tomorrow too. So
yeah, absolutely.
It's anyone's game, but in saying that, Richmond are the benchmark. I went and watched them a couple of times this year, and the way they play footy is pretty impressive. So.
It's frustrating if you're the opposition. You want to watch them.
They're so quick and you make one mistake, turnover.
Yeah,
it's basically a goal right down in the books.
Exactly.
So your own VFL form this year, you obviously would have been rapt to be getting back on the park, but you're playing some really good footy. I mean, you've been named in the best 7 times from 8 games. So where does this leave you now with your football hunger at the end of your 2018 season?
Yeah, to be honest, mate, I didn't really expect to. Sort of play all that well coming back this season. It was more just have fun, see how I go. And but in saying that, I always thought, there's a stigma around injured players coming back and never being quite as good as they once were. So I've always been on the mindset that, that doesn't really exist. I think you can always be just as good, if not better, than what you once were. So I just felt like I was playing my normal footy, mate, to be honest. In saying that, I know that on paper, for an AFL team, I don't look like the most appealing player. Obviously with for knee reconstruction, it's not going to really jump out to clubs as a player that you want on your list. But I absolutely think that I've got more to give as a player, and I can give clubs more than just a spot on the list. I think I'm good for culture and leadership and that sort of stuff. So I don't know if an opportunity ever came by, obviously grab it with both hands. But if it didn't come by, then I think I've got other options as well. So I'm pretty happy.
Very good mindset.
Excellent. Yeah. So a few interesting questions now. I've always looked at, like the guys within coaching structures, like the guys that move the magnets, all that sort of stuff, like all those stressful jobs, and the runner appears to be right up there with that.
Yeah.
You're in charge of delivering messages, but restructuring them so they're effective for players coming from a bloke that's screaming down the phone line. How do you cope with all that sort of stress while you're running 10, 15 Ks on a Saturday?
I understand where you're coming from, and there's definitely, I think, emotion involved when you're listening to the coaches on the phone. But like you said, mate, I sort of got to filter it to the players, and I sort of just picture it how I would want to hear it as a player. Obviously, a spray is not something any player wants to hear, really, but positive reinforcement, that sort of stuff, sort of, usually gets the right response. But I like to think I've got really good relationships with the players. They never really bite back at me. I think they understand that I'm just the messenger boy, so to speak. But having those good relationships with the players means that one, we get respect, and two, that the message that I'm saying, they genuinely want to listen to it as well. So I enjoy it, mate. To be honest, it's one of the best jobs I've had. I really like it, and I'm really happy that they've offered me to be the runner throughout the finals again. So I've gone from runner to playing to back to runner, and I'll be amongst it again. So I'm pretty excited about that, and can't wait to see the boys out on the field against West Coast Saturday night.
Do you fill many gaps as a runner?
Many what, sorry?
Many gaps? Do you float around where you shouldn't be floating around?
No, they're pretty strict on that, actually. The umpires will run past you and let you know if you're on the field too long, or if you're in a...
Sounds like an umpire thing to do, doesn't it?
Yeah,
like,
just not Sydney.
Can't see what's happening in front of them, but they'll know along the runsman.
You do get reports come through their emails every now and then of examples of where runners should be. So I'll just quickly scroll through that. And as long as I'm not one of the examples, I think I'm doing all right.
So not only are you running heaps, you're also taking the message out, but you're also like, I can't.
Yeah, you've actually got to tactically think about where you're running.
Yeah.
Which it's like multitasking to the nth degree. So you're not allowed to run, this close to the boundary or something, really, because of the boundary umpires and all that. Can't stand too close.
For them to run around you.
Yeah, I know. You can't stand too close to the forward 50. I just run like I'm a bit of a player out there, but I just wish I could have a kick as well.
So when do you head over then?
So I'll head over Friday morning.
Friday morning.
Yeah. So I've just got I only got the offer yesterday, which I accepted.
Yeah.
But I've obviously got a job and stuff as well, so I need to give a bit of notice.
You spent a couple of nights out in Perth, or just?
Yeah, so Friday night, and then we actually catch a red eye Saturday, so only the one night.
Yeah. A quirky one that sort of came up during the research process was that at Hawthorn you changed from 36 to 39.
Yeah.
And there was a question on an old Big Footy forum, because there was the curse of number 36 for a while, and then people were wondering whether or not that had anything to do with it. So what are we, 5 years on? Can you lift the lid on whether or not there was any method behind the madness of 36 to 39?
No, it's a fair enough question. I didn't buy into the curse, but obviously I think I didn't have too much luck in it either, so I didn't play any games at all, back-to-back Area Codes. But my best mate was Max Bailey, so once he retired, 39 was available, and he offered it to me. I've got a few numbers offered to me, actually. I had choice of 18, 21, a few other ones, but I think I couldn't say yes quick enough to Maxi. He was obviously a three-time knee reco victim, but he wrapped his arms right around me from day dot, so I was very much happy to go back a couple numbers just to accept his.
Nice little tribute.
Very nice. Benny, you've got a few for us.
I do. I have a pretty serious one. Last night, my people tell me you watched Gone Girl.
Yes, I did. That's a classic
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I watched the. Oh, I didn't watch the book. But I read the book, and I thought it was unbelievable. So I was really excited about the movie. And I think the movie is almost just as good. I still like the book a bit better, a bit more detail, that sort of stuff. But it's a full-on movie.
It definitely put me off females for quite some
Yeah.
time after that.
And
It's very scary. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
You should do yourself a favour.
No spoilers.
No, no
It's great.
spoilers.
It's,
no spoilers.
it's
They
right
all
up
die
there.
at the end, but it's all...
Yeah,
Was
you're
all
right.
the
Though.
dreams.
Makes you think twice about,
yeah. It shouldn't, but
yeah, I know,
definitely does.
commitments and all that sort of stuff. But it was a great movie. I recommend it. It's good.
Yeah. I have seen it.
Yeah.
I liked it. You
Great.
want me to keep going?
I reckon you've got a couple of crackers there.
Oh, I just I
Keep
was
going.
doing a little bit of a stalkering on the Insta.
Classic Insta.
Now walk me through Brooklyn Nets fan, are you?
Yes, massive.
Walk me
Massive.
through that.
So I've been a massive NBA fan. I suppose that's my second sport. Not that I can play it very well or anything.
Yeah.
But I've always gone for the New Jersey Nets ever since the Jason Kidd, Vince Carter, Richard
so you're
Jefferson
original.
days. So I'm an original,
That's
a rare
good, yeah.
original, and it's just hard to explain that I go for Brooklyn as well because everyone just thinks you're a bandwagoner when Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett.
Jay, what's his name? Jay-Z.
The trade that just ruined our future.
Yeah.
But
look good on
I've always
paper.
been a massive Nets fan, always been a massive NBA fan, and always will be, I reckon.
There you go. And
Couple of OGs, a Nets fan and a Pistons fan. Hey?
yeah, Pistons fan over here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just make silly choices at primary school, and then you just have to live in
Yeah.
them.
I stuck
Well,
with
good
it, though.
choices at the
I
time.
always felt like if you were like primary school or just started high school, you either go for the obvious wagon teams or you go the complete opposite end just to prove a point. Is that what you were doing?
Well, mine was sort of tried to reverse the Lakers trend because everyone went for the Lakers, and I thought,
Go against them.
I'll go against them, and then that sort of worked for a little bit, and then hasn't
Actually, well,
really
you
worked
actually
as
saw
well.
a premiership, didn't you? Title in
title.
04. I think.
Title.
Yeah,
It was a good title too.
yeah.
Very good.
I was
Watched many documentaries on that.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, I have
Bad
done.
Boy Pistons. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was the
Detroit.
Vince Sanity era, so I was all about Vince Carter.
Yeah.
And then he went to a different team. I just had to make a choice. I was just like, right, do I follow
You
him?
didn't follow him.
Do I follow him, or do I
Yeah.
just? And then he's
1,000
literally
jerseys.
gone to like 10 other teams.
Yeah.
All clubs and Tiger Woods. What else you got on
Well,
that
the only,
golden list
the only
there?
other thing is, little Coda, you're an Aussie Shepherd.
Yep, my little daughter, little Cozy.
She's absolutely gorgeous, I reckon.
She is. I'm very lucky.
And how old is she?
She's 3.
3.
So
Good age.
yeah,
Good
really
age
good.
for a
She's actually been like quite a good little, I suppose, medicinal type.
Oh,
Yeah, it
definitely.
was like she's helped me maintain my focus and just kept me happy through some pretty dark times. But I think even when I've had a shocking day at work, you just come home and they're always happy, so you can't get too upset with them. But she's an Aussie Shepherd, and I actually got her from WA and flew her over, and she's very attached to me, and as I am her.
And how's her Instagram going? She an
It's
influencer yet?
she's struggling with the followers. So if you want,
Oh, we'll have to plug it.
Yeah, we'll
give her a plug.
Because our thousands of
Coda
followers will
underscore
jump
the-
on board now.
it's amazing because back in the day you have like photo albums, and Instagram's almost like a memory box that you keep now.
Yeah.
So Coda's got her own little profile, but you can't take like these Kodak moments anymore. You just got to take a photo on your phone and then somehow store it somewhere.
And there's no bad ones. In photo albums, there's always bad ones.
Yeah,
Instagram's
exactly
just
right.
the best of the best.
Especially
Like the
with
third or
Koda.
fourth, I think.
Coda never takes a bad photo.
Dad, is your life always that good? Yep, this is every photo I've taken of me. This is my Instagram.
You might VBs.
So just before we let you go, if you just want to sort of talk us through, you mentioned that you're working now.
Yeah.
You've started up your own business in Fortitude Finance. Just want to give that a bit of a plug and sort of run everyone through what you're doing with that.
That'd be great, mate. Obviously, there's bad times or bad things with injuries, but one of the good things is that you can really invest yourself into your studies and networking. So the transition for me from footy to real life work, so to speak, was pretty seamless, and I became a mortgage broker after completing my studies. 2 years in the industry, I've decided to go out on my own and make my own little business as a finance and mortgage broker. and the platform is pretty much on my website that I created last year. I created this little website for my blogs, and it's pretty much just a journal about my career as a footy player. But my business is now an extension of that, and hopefully, if clients ever want to have any support or needs in finance, I'm more than happy to assist them. But the whole aim of putting it on the website is so that they get a holistic view of what type of person I am, and hopefully that builds trust and shows that I can do a good service as a mortgage broker.
That's a good way of doing it.
Awesome, love it. Well, Alex, thanks very much for your time on the
Pleasure.
news
Thanks
tonight.
for having me.
And if you're actually looking to sponsor Fortitude, we're heavily looking.
Silver Market, what is this, episode 24, I guess?
Still, yeah,
Roundabouts.
20, yeah.
Great show.
25, I think, actually.
But no, thanks very much for your time, Alex. Good luck for the future, be it footy, business, wherever you find yourself. I'm sure it'll be a success just hearing that story. So thanks very much for your time.
No, thank you.
Thanks, mate.
for having
Cheers.
me. Awesome. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Cheers. Welcome back, Magoo's viewers. Thanks again to Alex Woodward for his time. There, really
thanks, Alex.
fascinating chat.
Yeah.
It was awesome, wasn't it?
We rearranged the room really quickly as well.
Well, it wasn't really quickly. We just edited it.
What do we got for me?
Okay, we will sign off, but before we do, Ben,
Yep.
we've obviously got finals footy. It's here.
We say it every year, I'm excited, but this is honestly a really good top 8.
It's here. So what I want, we'll go through and we'll build our own finals bracket, and each of us will work out who's going to win the flag. Okay, we've both got our AFL finals predictor apps open.
We do. I'll have to show it.
People listening,
Okay, Thursday, 6th of September, 7:20 p.m. Richmond, Hawthorn. Who you got?
Hawthorn.
Richmond. Melbourne, Geelong at the G.
Melbourne.
Geelong. It's going well.
going
Saturday,
very well.
September 8, 4:20 p.m. Sydney, GWS at the SCG.
Hang on, the Swans.
I'm going GWS. This is great, isn't it?
This is not rehearsed, by the way.
We obviously rehearse nothing on this show. And then 6:10 p.m. Saturday, that's Western time.
We're
West
going
Coast,
opposites
Collingwood,
again.
are
I'm
we?
going Collingwood.
I'm going West Coast.
Bang.
We've gone 4 opposites. It's incredible. So that means now our brackets are going to be totally different. So
Yeah.
my semi-final weekend looks like Hawthorn versus Geelong, and I'm going to go with, that's a great game.
Well, this sort of mucks it up then, doesn't it? Because no.
Yeah, but we're still going to be left with one winner.
All right, yeah.
Oh, goodness me. Hawthorn, Geelong. I've been a rat for Geelong, so I'll stick with them. I'll say
Against the Hawks?
Geelong will beat Hawthorn. Hawthorn might go out in straight sets.
You're wrong, but anyway, I'm going Richmond against the D's.
That'll be a cracking game.
That'll be a cracker. Won't
If it
happen.
happens.
Yeah. We're going down the rabbit hole here. And then I've got Collingwood versus GWS in the other semi-final, and I'll go Collingwood there.
Yeah, and then I'll go West Coast at home against the Swans.
Yeah. Cool. Now
So
we move
Swannies and D's are out.
preliminary-
I am bargaining for the D's though.
to preliminary. My first preliminary final is Richmond-Collingwood. That's monstrous. Richmond will win that.
Then my first preliminary final is Hawthorn versus West Coast, and I'm going the Hawks because they'll be at home.
Due to my bracket.
Okay, yeah. And then I've got West Coast Geelong, and I'll go West Coast over there.
Then I got the Pies versus Richmond at home. You go on the Tigers.
Okay.
So my grand final
Yeah.
is Thursday night's game.
Hawthorn, Richmond.
Hawthorn-Richmond.
Well, I've got Richmond West Coast.
And that sounds top 2. That sounds pretty accurate.
Pretty
I
brave.
dare say, if
Richmond lose tomorrow night, that'd be better form, I reckon. Because they've won. How many have they won in a row now?
At the G.
Just in general, I think they're at least 6 or 7 on the chart.
Sure.
I'm not sure. No, I never am.
I never am.
My point is, if
No, you're right. You're right. They lost to the Giants in the 14th of July, so 1,
okay, so it's been a
2,
while.
3, 4, 5.
I just personally think
6 in a row. Yeah.
if they win tomorrow night, which they'll be favourites, they might not win the granny.
Interesting.
I think
I just think they're the best side in it. I just think that
they are,
and that doesn't always mean you win the grand final, but I'd be happy to be with the best side in it. So I'm tipping, as this says,
So your grand final,
your 2018 predicted
call.
premiers are the Tigers.
So you're saying Tigers against West Coast. I'm
Yep.
saying Hawthorn Richmond.
And you're saying Hawthorn win the flag? Or
No, I didn't say that.
Okay.
Who the fool? Depending on who wins tomorrow.
Yeah, but in your
It'll be the
bracket-
opposite. I haven't done it. The last one.
Yeah, but in your bracket, you've got Hawthorn winning, so that means you think Richmond will win the grand final.
Yeah. Because of what I said. Because I think if Richmond win tomorrow night, they won't win the granny. I think if they lose tomorrow night, they'll win the granny. I know that sounds complicated.
So finish your bracket.
But I don't need to finish.
So
it.
you're tipping Richmond to win the flag.
I'm tipping Hawks to win the flag.
It's the exact opposite to what you just said. The exact opposite to what you
I'm
just
tipping Hawks to win the flag 2018. I think Alistair Clarkson obviously built for it.
I don't know how.
He's been studying Dimmer in Richmond all year.
I don't know how Molly does it.
She
Magoo's
doesn't.
viewers, enjoy the first weekend of finals for 2018. Thanks again to Alex Woodward for joining us. We'll be back next week to see how our tips went. We've tipped 4 different in the first week of the finals. So
This makes me want to barrack for these teams even more.
I'll be very happy, and Ben will be embarrassed.
You know what's going to happen. We're going to get 2 and 2.
No, I'll get 4. Thank you very much, Magoo's viewers and listeners. Don't forget to jump on the socials, help Ben out with his Cane Corns of the Week, Team of the Year.
Yeah, we need to find out where they
put
need
his
to sit.
nominations, where you think they should be playing on the ground. Give us a like, share, subscribe, tell your friends. If you want to sponsor us, you can do so here. Thanks very much for watching / listening to the show, and we'll see you next week.